Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome on the Culture News. My name is David SERERO, and I have the great pleasure today to have over the phone first-class entertainment personality. Her name is LOIS FARFEL Stark, and she's an Emmy Award-winning TV producer and documentary filmmaker. She's also an author. She has written a fantastic book, and she had a distinguished career with NBC News, and she has produced and wrote over 40 documentaries on architecture, medical research, and artists and social issues, and many other great things. I am very happy to have her over the phone. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only LOIS FARFEL Stark. How are you, LOIS, today?
Oh, quite wonderful. Thank you for having me, David.
It is
How
a pleasure, and it is an honor. You cannot even start to begin to imagine. So first of all, my dear, today I have the pleasure to have you. We're going to talk about your career, but also we're going to talk about a very special event. We're going to talk about this afterwards on November 12th that you're going to do in Dallas, great city, by the way. So, first of all, for the very few people who don't know you, my dear LOIS, tell us where you're from and what brought you. I'm always interested to know what brought you to become this first-class producer and documentary filmmaker.
Well, probably curiosity is what drives us all.
Exactly.
We're trying to figure out the world, and I was lucky in my early life to have an opportunity with NBC News to be able to cover stories in all regions of the world that were at tensions or transitions. And so in the time that I first began, we did films in Abu Dhabi when it was just catapulting to the modern world, in Israel after the Israeli Air Force had won in the first 3 minutes of the Six-Day War, and how that happened in Abu Dhabi, as I said, but also in Liberia when they were having a social split, and in Northern Ireland when they were shooting each other over social religious tensions, so that you could see even the roots of our racial tensions in the United States. So sometimes hard to talk about. But when you see it, Christian against Christian in Northern Ireland or Black against Black in Liberia, somehow your lens enlarges and you can see the wider angle of the things that humans do that we sort of need to correct and see with a more extended lens.
Wow, that's very impressive. And I mean, it must have been something to do really the news like in the old days, because, I mean, without due respect when I say the old days, but because that was before internet, that was before cell phones, right? So
exactly.
You must have had a very strong, I should call it a responsibility to bring the news, because people were literally waiting for it, because now you can't even check out a webcam, or people are uploading stuff and putting on Facebook, on YouTube. So I believe the media world has changed dramatically.
It's a different sense of time, depending on the technology that we use. At the time I began, we dealt in film, and it would not be on the air for 6 months. And you had to cover a story from its background and history, and be able to give a version of everyone's particular angle to the tensions at play. Now, with the immediacy, you lose some of the breadth of what the whole arc of issues is.
I agree with you. And one question. Do you think that the journalists used to be better before there was internet and there was all of that, or they are better now because they have so many information? I'm curious to your opinion.
Better is a tricky word that generally is defined by the person asking. And so we always live in our moment, and we have to live with the situation at hand. But then we always have the opportunity to grow. And so to be able to take the technology that even we do have, which does emphasize the instant as opposed to the more fuller scaled. But if then we know that that's the defect of its virtue, then we can begin to add depth in perhaps a variety of short ways and perhaps longer formats. But absolutely there is a difference in journalism depending on whether you're using a pencil or a camera or a video.
I totally agree with you. So, because I feel like in the old days, and especially with NBC News, they used really to dig into the story, as you said, and find the background of it. And now I feel everybody is taking a little bit of what they heard or what they can read from there to there, and trying to make a story with it.
And to some extent, that's a piece of what I will be speaking of on the TED Talk. And that's by looking through the lens of shape. If you take that expanded view and then you look at history not as a series of wars and economic change or even innovation, but you even add the tool of looking by shape. And then you can see how early humans actually saw their world, migratory humans saw their world as a web. And they had connected shelters and round-thatched huts, igloos, Stonehenge, kivas, medicine wheels, labyrinths. But then when we were in one place for 4 seasons, we started to see the world like a ladder. Linear thinking, hierarchically measured. And then we built buildings that were different, and that way church steeples, armies, corporations, all by measurement. And now we put the web and ladder together in a helix. And we both recur like the web, but then we also evolve like the ladder. And we're also in a network world where it's full of links and it's full of connections, just as you were saying, in the flash news, so to speak. But in a network, there's both pattern as we know it, and links and nodes and hubs, but there's also the unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen with all the reverberations. And that's the part that we forget when we think that things are somehow one of a kind and whole in this connected work, but and it is to some extent, but it's also full of the unpredictable. And so some of the new shapes that are coming in are actually like a torus. That's a spinning donut, and then it holds opposites. So you can, in a spinning donut, you can picture yourself sort of coming out of the center and see an expanding universe, or you can see yourself folding back in a contracting universe. So it holds opposites simultaneously, and that's how we need to see by including opposites and multiplying perspectives and enlarging our lens. And then we can understand more and more. And then, as you were saying earlier, it eventually and hopefully will incorporate both that immediacy that you were speaking of, but also the background you were speaking of.
But you made me very hungry to talk about all those donuts. I want to go and grab one. And I'm seeing donuts around. So now let's talk about this great event that would be the TEDx talk at SMU in Dallas on November 12th. That is titled "Shape Hiding in Plain Sight." What are we expecting to see during this great talk?
How humans have looked at the world through the lens of shape without even realizing that's what we were doing. It's kind of a metaphor to sum up the culture of a time, and a time in this reference can be thousands of years, and we get locked into a mindset. So in early, I came up with the idea of shape when I was filming in Liberia, a ritual where the young girls were being initiated. And when I saw the women dancing in a circle, and they danced in the hub of their circular settlement, and they were surrounded by round-thatched huts, and they worshipped according to the seasonal changes of the year, and everything imitated a web. And then the next day I filmed in the city, and there was a military parade, and the soldiers were lying row by row in perfect pods, kind of marching like grass paper being turned. And then I saw that this world was all about measurement and hierarchy, and it looked like a ladder, not a web. So I tried to delineate when we switch the very way that we look at the world by looking at shapes. And so I go from web to ladder, and that's the world that sort of we're coming out of. And the world that we're in now is a network world.
Wow.
And then I suggest where we might be going. And there's some buildings in China that are actually built as an upright ring. And so if you just take a circle and hold it upright, it upends our expectation. And when you live in new shapes, it reshapes how you think about the world. And so you can see more opposites. This building in China is both above water and underwater.
Wow.
And its interior rooms have exterior views.
Wow,
and if you wander inside, your perspective would continuously change. So you're always knowing that whatever you see is just a partial sight, and that the system is larger, but that the system also has balance within it.
Wow, that's so much interesting, and you give me the desire to catch a plane and go to see you in Dallas to see you.
You're always
because
welcome.
that sounds like so interesting, and you're definitely the person who knows about it. That's for sure. So, my dear Lois, your wonderful documentaries all have an end. Including your great book. They also have an end, and this interview also has an end, unfortunately, and we arrived to it. So I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking some time out of your busy schedule. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Serero. I had the pleasure today to have on the Culture News, which you can hear us on iTunes Radio, iTunes Podcast, and SoundCloud, and all their platforms. I had the pleasure to have the fantastic LOIS FARFEL, who is an Emmy Award-winning producer, a documentary filmmaker, and also author of the book, The Telling Image, Shapes of Changing Times, which this one is released in 2017, right?
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. I hope I will have a copy before that. I'm not sure I can wait 2017, but that's okay.
Well,
so she has produced and written over 40 documentaries on very, very different issues, and she basically covered the news all over the world, and it's a great honor to have her. And she will be on November 12th at the TEDx talk at SMU in Dallas to talk about shape. The title, of the talk is called Shape Hiding in Plain Sight. This is something you guys don't want to miss, and I believe you go on the website of TEDx Talk to book your tickets. My dear Lois, I want you to know that the doors of this show are yours 24/7, and you can come back any time. I also wanted to mention that you are the recipient of so many awards. I'm not going to name all of them because you are making us look very bad with all the things that you have accomplished. But let me tell you, it goes from the Cine Gold Award, 2 Gold Awards from the International Film Festival of the Americas, the Matrix Award from Women in Communications, the American Bar Association Silver Gavel Award, etc., and also the Silver Award from the Texas Broadcasting Association. My dear Lois, thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear David, for having me.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
The best to you.